I guess this is more of a somber greetings and salutations to the introduction of this video. Today we are going to be taking an unfortunate sneak peek into Ashlie Molstad's month-long course where she is helping people with their mindset, and unfortunately that isn't quite accurate to what she is actually doing in the group. Let me run the description and I'll let you know a little bit more about it coming right up. From what I can tell from the first call that I have listened to and I watched it live, is that Ashlie Molstad is pretending to be a licensed therapist. No, she doesn't say she's pretending to be it. That's what it seems like to me. After she finishes talking about everything that she thinks people need to know for this first week, and building upon all of the awful emails she sent out all week long, lots of people requested for her to talk to them live and coach them live. And she picked these two individuals that we'll hear about at the end of the call. And I'm going to make sure that the voices are changed enough that you will not be able to recognize them. I'm going to blur their faces, and I'm going to take out any names that they use themselves or that Ashley's calling them so that their identity is protected. Why am I including them in this clip? Because it is evidence that Ashlie is in territory she should not even get close to as a self-proclaimed life coach. And she can say all she wants that she has some kind of certification, but in my opinion, it's a certification in literal fluffery. Ava may have just bleeped out a word, so imagine fluffery, but the wrong kind, if that makes sense. Do not underestimate the twistiness of this call. If manipulation, if unlicensed therapy advice, information about ABUSIVE situations is going to slime you, don't watch this video. Come back for another lighthearted stream or another multi-level marketing snoopity snoop or a Zoom crash. This is not the one to get slimed on. Now, why am I covering Ashlie? Well, she is a Beachbody coach. She's now an affiliate with Trim Fit, which is an Anita Myron, creation. She's also doing master resale rights, and the list goes on. And I guess the cherry on top of this sundae is that she has been helping people with her life coaching business and sharing those confidential calls on her podcast. I will be doing a lot of pausing. I'm probably going to be drinking some more coffee. If now or at the end of the video you actually like the video, I'd love for you to hit the thumbs up. If you are interested in subscribing to my channel, I'd love to see you next time on a live stream or another pre-recorded video. Over 600 people, I think 650 or 700 at this point, who paid $97 to be able to get coached by Ashlie, and it's awful. Let's begin. I have skipped over the screen where it says her name, where she's singing along with the music. She just said, "Hello, guys." So I am not going to be cutting anything out other than bleeping names and then covering faces of her coaching clients.
Here we are. Let me pause this. Here we go. Okay. Hi. We're here. We made it. How freaking excited. So yes, I see someone asked, are we all muted? Your kids are being loud. You don't see the mute button. Nobody can see you or hear you unless I bring you on as a panelist, I think is what it's called. So you can be popping questions into the chat. You can chat. I think all of you can chat. You can put it in the Q&A. And then once we get to the portion where I'll coach, you can raise your hand if you want to volunteer to be coached. But I want to kick things off with a little bit of teaching this week.
You know what's wild? This isn't the proper term, so I'm not going to use it. This just lackadaisical attitude about not preparing at all for people who want to be coached. People could have submitted their stories earlier on during the week, and so she could have prepped for it. She could have appeared more ready, and whatever we see at the end is wild. In my opinion, it's disrespectful to the people who wanted to be coached. She shouldn't be coaching in the first place because she's not a licensed therapist. She's not a therapist. She's not a counselor. She has a kind of twisty accreditation from a life coaching school that I don't know. There's no governing body for it.
Let me make sure if you guys can comment and let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, if I'm sounding okay.
You sound awful.
So let me know.
Well, I'm guessing having videos made about you is not fun. I understand that. I'm guessing that Ashlie Molstad's never going to watch this video because when she booted me out of her Facebook group last year, she blocked me on all accounts. Totally fine. Can you, for the love of sanity, get a microphone or put more of a carpet down or put some curtains up or do some soundproofing since you're on Zoom all the time? You have a podcast. I don't understand why this is like... Literally, it sounds like an echo chamber, even though it's technically not an echo chamber. But here we are. I'm sorry for all of your ears bleeding.
Let me know in the chat. Type it in and then just make sure we're all good to go. But I want to respect our time. So I'm making sure, okay, this is all going in the Q&A. This is all going in the Q&A. Can you guys put it in the chat? Oh, chat is disabled.
Good job, Ashlie.
I have also my assistant on here. Why is chat disabled?
Because you weren't prepared.
I don't know if that's a thing. That is annoying. Chat. Show chat previews. It doesn't say disabled for me. Panelists can chat with... Oh, attendees can chat with everyone. There we go. Did I turn it on?
Really?
There we go. Whoa, whoa, whoa. They're pouring in. Okay. I love this. Yes. Okay. So we're all...
I don't know where the slow clap is. Good job. You set up your Zoom correctly for people where you're getting tens of thousands of dollars and you look so professional right now.
Oh, good. So then if you have a question, you can pop it in the Q&A, but the chat is live. Should be good now. Okay. So we are week 1. We are diving into intentional living. And this week, I think is the most important because it is all about intentional thinking. And we're talking about intentional nourishment and eating and food. Next week, we're going to be talking about movement week after that. And then we're going to be talking about like environment, boundaries, cleaning up your space, your social media, stuff like that. But all of it is
cleaning up your social media? What? I'm confused about the purpose of this month-long course. I'm confused.
Is basically this, like, this is the foundation of the house. Like, if you don't have this week as the foundation, then the rest of it isn't going to be able to be built on top of it. Because what you will...
So if we don't get brainwashed this week, then the other weeks aren't going to make sense. Perfect. 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 Perfect.
See, and what I hope that you're gathering from the first 3 days of emails and exercises is that your thoughts create your reality. And I actually just had a client. I had a one-on-one meeting with a client today and saw...
Your thoughts create your reality? No. It can have a significant impact on how you face things, but they literally don't create your reality because there are some people that have been harmed in their actual reality, and that actually happened, and that had nothing to do with how they were thinking about the world. Sometimes they're just evil in the world.
I was talking to her, and I just was like, I'm so impressed with her ability, her brain's ability to change. And I was like, I hope you're acknowledging yourself for this. This is so much growth. We've been working together for a couple of months, and she came in, she had some issues, I would say. She's a stepmom, so she was having trouble with one of her stepkids. She's also a mom, and so there was that dynamic that was off there.
Stepmoms are moms. No, you're not their biological mom, but even if you have no biological kids of your own, you still are a mom. You still get to help create a positive co-parenting environment with your spouse and the birth mom, or whatever combination of people it is. You still get to do that. You still are a parent.
She hated her job, and it was causing her like severe overwhelm and suffering. She was struggling with her relationship with her husband and their communication. And now it's just like easy breezy. Things still happen, of course, right? But she just has so much more control over her life, and things aren't ruffling her feathers the way that they were. And I was like, telling her how wild it is.
How you interact with a situation, how you respond to a situation doesn't mean that you have more control over your life. You're better able to regulate your emotions. And is Ashlie Molstad going to take credit for that? I guess she already did, but should she? No, because she shouldn't be giving advice to people that mucks around with their headspace, because she's not licensed to do it.
That nothing has changed, right? Her husband hasn't changed. His communication style still is the same. The daughter that she's working with has not changed. Like, there's still some things going on there. Her job is still the same. And yet her world is entirely different. And I was like, and see how nothing had to change for you to feel better. And she was like, I remember when you told me that when we first started working together. And she's like, I believed you, of course, but I just didn't see how it was possible. And it is the most powerful thing that you can do when you decide to insource your life and you decide to take responsibility for it, because it is easier to say, I'm unhappy because of my job. I am feeling unwanted because of my husband. I am feeling undervalued because of the way my child is treating me, right? It's like the problem is out there. When those things change, I can feel better. But that is a very disempowering place to be. It gives all of the power to things outside of you, which means you don't actually have control over your life. The other things do, right?
There again are some things that do have significant impact and ability to influence your life, like your job. Because guess what? You have to earn money to be able to live in general. I'm trying to process through my emotions as I'm watching this for the second time. I still have big feelings about what she's saying, and it's not cognitive dissonance. It's not me saying like, wow, if I took her advice, then I'd be able to change my own circumstances. No, hopefully surgery is going to help me feel differently in my body. And if it doesn't, I'm going to have to live with the discomfort. There are some things that physically have changed and I've added to my routine that alleviates some of the pain I experience. That is a actual emotional and physical relief because something physically was added to my routine. It wasn't my mindset.
Right? In order for me to feel happy, people need to act a certain way. Things need to be a certain way. And it's like, no, it's all about our brains. So I want you, that's what this journaling exercise is really for this week, is to start seeing the thoughts that you're working with. And I think in the work that I do, right, in teaching authenticity, that's really my sweet spot. Is my goal for us after these 4 weeks is for you to feel more confident in being who you are and letting the world see who you are, and also tolerating people not liking who you are, as long as you like who you are. Right? One of the things that actually came up with her today, she said,
there's something to be said though. If you are in a associateship, is that a friend? It's not a friendship. People that you're close with at work, people that you're close with organizations that you associate with, whatever that is, and maybe people you respect. They don't just have to be friends. They could be peers. And you could say the feedback that they give you about something, how you speak, how you interact with others, that could be something that you do need to change. It's not just about saying, yeah, I like flying off the handle and I like having emotional outbursts on others where they feel really small after I'm done. I just have to accept that about myself.
There was something that happened and I felt really left out. I talked to my husband about it and he said, well, I'll talk to them. And she said, well, don't talk to them and say like, you noticed this happen, but don't tell her that I had my feelings hurt. And I was like, tell me about that. Why don't you want her to know that your feelings were hurt? Right? Because what that message is sending your brain, because your feelings were hurt. Why don't we want somebody to know that? It's because I don't want her to think a certain way about me. I'm trying to control what she thinks of me so that she'll like me more. But the underlying message there is self-rejection. Something's wrong with me. I am not okay.
Yes and no. I'm not a therapist. This is just my experience. Sometimes you have to have practice with communicating to another person that they hurt your feelings, or to clarify if they meant something a specific way. And there's health in being able to openly talk about something, being able to process through it internally. And if it's something, sure, you're having more negative than positive interactions after you've changed your ability to communicate and you need to step away from the relationship, that's cool too.
Right? I can't own this part of me because I'm afraid it will be rejected. So I was like, has nothing to do with her. It's the message that you're sending to yourself. And that is what so much of things in our life comes back to, is our thoughts about us and how we try to protect ourselves from rejection hiding who we are. So I want you this week to really start getting onto what are the thoughts that you're working with. And that is why journaling pen to paper is so important, because it's like, I think of our brain like a house, and it's like a hoarder's house. Okay. And there is just a mess in every room. And some of it is stuff that you would want to keep. Some of it is like really valuable stuff that's in this house. Every room is packed to the gills, but it's so messy and there's no electricity. The lights aren't on, right? When you start doing these journaling exercises, doing thought downloads, and then running models on your thoughts, it's like turning the lights on in the house. Now you still have the mess, but at least you can see it clearly. You can see what the mess looks like, and then you can systematically start picking out things, right? Versus trying to clean it all up in the dark, which is what we do when we cannot see our thoughts. If you are just trying to think it in your head, you miss so much of them. But if you put it on paper, you'll start seeing. And I got so many responses on yesterday's journal prompts when I asked you to talk about your relationship with you. So many of you wrote and said that it brought you to tears. And it's like, oh, well, isn't it pretty insightful that maybe your life isn't feeling fabulous right now when you look at the thoughts you're thinking about yourself and how you're undervaluing and underselling and underloving who you are? It is so powerful. So I want you guys to think, because that's kind of going to be one of my biggest things. And I'm kind of ignoring the chat right now because otherwise I'll get very distracted. So Kaylee,
I'm kind of ignoring the chat right now, even though I said that I was going to be on a Zoom call on Wednesday where everybody could interact, because I just want to talk. Okay, Ashlie.
Assistant is on here, and I'm seeing that you guys I'm seeing the like general feedback, but I'm not interacting with this right now, so I can stay on topic. But Kaylee's also going to be writing down any like main themes or questions or things that come up. And I'll get to, but I'm seeing already you guys are feeling moved by this. So I love that. But what I want to do with you guys tonight is to really dive deeper.
I was in the live chat and there were not people being moved by what she was saying.
Into that exploration of your thoughts about you and your relationship with you. And I want to take you down this path, okay, of how do we change the way that we feel about ourselves? Because right now, the way that you feel about yourself feels very factual. The sky is blue, the earth is round, I'm too much. I'm too dumb, I'm disgusting, I'm annoying, people don't like me, I'll never be successful, whatever. These stories, and you say it as if it's fact because your brain has practiced this thought over and over and over again until it became a belief and is now in your default operating system. Because how our brain works, there is the primal brain, which is what, kind of keeps us alive. And it is motivated by three things: seeking pleasure, avoiding pain, and exerting as little effort as possible, right? This is like our reptilian brain. Then we have our humans are the only species that have evolved to have a prefrontal cortex, meaning we can think about our thoughts. We can think about our future. So that is your conscious brain versus your subconscious. You'll hear me kind of use these terms interchangeably. Now, what happens is you're a young kid and you're going through the world and you are a sponge and you are observing everything around you. And then you're learning how you should behave, how the world should behave, what the rules of society are, right? And your brain does not like ambiguity. So it starts, when you have a thought, it starts scanning the world for evidence to prove this thought true. And once it collects enough evidence, that can just go in your subconscious brain. You don't have to think about it anymore. It happens on autopilot. So it frees up your conscious brain now to think about new things and learn new skills and, all of that.
I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just someone commenting on a really dangerous class, in my opinion, on the internet. Part of what she's saying, I think, is correct. And there's other parts where you as a kid, you do something and it gets either a reaction that is something that you like or a reaction that you don't like, or you don't notice it. So you don't tie meaningful associations with it. And then as you get older, and your brain's ability to logic and process through things increases, sometimes you get to look at those things and say, that association I made with this event or me doing this wasn't logical. And so, can I work through this with a therapist?
So a lot of these belief systems that you're dealing with are things that started when you were little, that your brain has had years, decades of finding evidence to prove true. And it's in the subconscious. So it's happening without your consent. So I want you to think, right? First of all, I need you to decide that you want to feel better. That is step number one. You have to decide, I want to feel better, and I am committed for as long as it takes until I can. Because your brain is going to resist this. It does not like change. Remember? Exert as minimal energy as possible, and change requires effort and energy. And so it's like, listen, we've been fine. Why are we going to change any of this? We're still alive.
Okay, here's my question. If you're actively thinking about something that you think needs to change, and you are able to think intentionally about it and choose to do something different the next time that situation comes up. And you can make small pivots and small changes until you relearn that subconscious part that you naturally lean towards. Why wouldn't there be people out there who can do that? I'm confused. I'm obviously, maybe someone can enlighten me in the comments.
We're good, because your primal brain doesn't care if you're thriving. It just cares that you're surviving, literally. It's your prefrontal cortex. It's your conscious brain that cares about whether you're happy or not. But your primal brain is like, as long as we're alive, I don't care how happy you are, right? It's all about survival. So I want you to think about a baby. Picture any baby in the world. If you have a child, I want you to think about your child, okay? And when they were born, your heart exploded, right?
She's reading that.
Some of us right away, some of us, I mean, it took me a little bit of time actually to bond with my firstborn. It was a very traumatic birth and all of that. But eventually my heart exploded. And even right away, I just had this maternal instinct of like, I want to protect her and take the best care of her ever, right? I want you to think about your child, or picture any baby if you do not have kids yet. And you grow more in love with your child every day, right? And you only want the best for them because you don't want them to suffer. You think the best of them. You were like, you're the most magnificent little thing on the planet. I love you so much. You are perfect and wonderful, and I don't want anything bad to ever happen to you, right?
I'm confused that she's saying this, and I'm not saying that you can take in the entirety of someone's ability to parent with an extensive sharing of life on social media. There have been some events that Ashlie Molstad has been involved with that make me question what she is saying here. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now.
Right? You don't think that they are too much or not enough. When you are coming from love, not ego, because some of your babies might be a little older now and we have judgments about choices that they're making. But when we are coming from love, because the ego will say things like, you need to try harder. You need to be better. You need to work harder. Or I want you to act a certain way so that I can feel a certain way about my parenting, that I've done a good job. Right? This is just how humans are. There's nothing wrong with that. But everything that we do is really about how it makes us feel or how it makes us look or whatever. But you don't want anything bad to happen to them. You love them so much. Okay. So you don't need them to be, when you just think about as pure as they are, you don't need them to be smarter or more talented or better looking or more successful or funnier. You just want them to be happy and be happy being themselves, because you look at them as if maybe they're the best thing that's ever walked the planet, you know?
I have no ability to relate with what she's saying because I don't have any kids. I can just go off of what my parents tried to teach me growing up. It wasn't just about being happy, although respecting and loving yourself was a part of that. There were also underlying ethical character traits that they felt that were important to teach us. It wasn't just be happy and like who you are.
The best thing that's ever existed. And I just want to offer you in your brain that your parents probably thought of you this way. And if they didn't,
some parents are awful human beings. Just throwing that out there. Are people supposed to take from this class, if their parents or lack of parents, they don't get to believe in any of those things? They don't have parents. They could be orphans. They may have parents who fell in the awful category and they grew up in foster care and then potentially didn't get to be with great foster parents all the time. What are those people supposed to think when you say, remember how your parents thought of you so that you can fix your self-image of you are lovable because your parents loved you? You can't use these sweeping generalizations when you are doing these like life teaching, helpful, like fix your mind classes, Ashlie. I think it's dangerous. I'm not exaggerating.
It show you that they thought of you this way. It doesn't mean that they didn't, or that you weren't worthy of love, or that you were the exception to that love. It just means they weren't capable. Because then again, think of any baby on the planet. If it's not your kid, right? If you didn't receive love from your parents as a young kid, you might be thinking, no, I am the exception to this. I do have to earn my love. But I want you to think about any other baby on the planet. That innocent, perfect little baby. Is there any part of you that is thinking that baby needs to earn their love? I want to see who that baby is first before I decide that they are worthy of being here and worthy of love and belonging. Right? Like, no, that sounds ridiculous. You picture this little baby or like a toddler or whatever.
There are actions, though, that put people in maybe categories where you don't associate with them anymore because they consistently have different ways of behaving in situations that you may find unrelatable. You may even put their actions into a category of unethical or immoral actions. So you don't, and if you have opposing beliefs about those same things, about this way the person behaves, then maybe you don't interact with them anymore. And those things happen because babies grow up into people who make decisions.
And you just think, oh God, you're so sweet. I just love you so much. Or maybe you don't love them, but you're like, you can tell that they are just these most innocent, perfect little creatures. And then the world sinks their teeth into them, and then they become whoever they're going to become, right? Based on what they grow up with. So let's think about, like, for those of you without kids, picture a brand new baby, like fresh out of the womb, and maybe that baby was born drug addicted. So were they worthy of love, even though their parents couldn't use their love wasn't enough to stop their addiction? Picture another baby 3 months old, and they're starting to see things clearly. They're starting to learn the world around them. Their eyes taking it all in, just like observing it all, right? And they're learning to hold their head up, and yet they're still worthy of love, right? We don't have to love every action that somebody does, that your child does, or that a baby does, to know that they are and will always be worthy of love and belonging simply because they exist. And then your brain comes in and it's like, well, no. Yeah, but I'm different. No, I have.
Oh, this is twisty. People are not babies. Babies grow up into people.
I have to earn. I have to be, let's say quieter. I have to be smarter. I have to be thinner. I have to be prettier. I have to be funnier. I have to be all of it. I have to be peaceful. I have to be there. I have to do things for people. I have to say yes to people. I can't disappoint people. All these things that your brain has decided are the standards you have to follow in order to be worthy of love and belonging. But like, you were also just a baby, born worthy of love and belonging. Nothing you can do about it. There's literally nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter if you become a Unabomber.
Oh my God. I don't even know how to respond to that. I've been on the verge of crying this whole video. Like, what the hell? You're going to use that person as the example here, Ashlie?
You were still born worthy of love and belonging. And then it's so fascinating, right, that our brains then think, like, your brain thinks that there's something wrong with me. I am inherently unlovable or unlikable, or I have to act a certain way to be lovable or likable, which is why we learn to show the world the masked version of ourselves. But the reason I wanted to do this exercise with you is because I want you to see that the way you think about yourself now as not being enough in whatever way that is, I'd love to hear, like, can you guys write down, what is the thing that you think you have to be in order to be worthy of love and belonging? Like for me, I go back to the Enneagram a lot. I'm an Enneagram 3. So I remember a time growing up, I had this inherent fear of.
You're trying to muck about in people's heads and using Enneagram as an example of a scientifically based source. I think Enneagram is fun for people. I don't think that psychologists and psychiatrists are like, yep, let me know what your Enneagram is so I can help you mentally. I don't think anyone who is an ethical licensed clinician is going to use that. And here we are listening to Ashlie Molstad tell us about her Enneagram number. Okay.
A failure. Like, I needed to be successful and achieve a lot in order to be worthy of taking up space, right? And then I also felt like I needed to lose weight in order to be worthy of taking up space. I need to be pretty. I need to be very successful, right? Okay, so I need to be more easygoing. I need to have more success. I need to be a people pleaser and compliant. I need to be thinner. I need to be more fun. I need to show more affection. I need to be more agreeable. I'm reading all of these things, right? So these are the things that you can see now were learned. It's not coded in your DNA that you have to be any of these things in order to be worthy of love and belonging. And one of my biggest things that I've been working on over the last year and a half or so, as I've been doing this thought work, I can remember so many times this deep fear of rejection and any sense of perceived rejection. My brain would then go into a deep downward spiral very quickly about, like, nobody likes me. I suck. I am a drag on everybody. I am annoying, right?
Not everybody has your situation. There probably are people who share your situation. There's power in being able to speak up for yourself. And she's about to say some stuff that I don't agree with.
And something happened almost 2 years ago now. And it was someone that I love so much.
Emily Favre.
That I was perceiving over and over and over this, like, rejection. And my brain went into this place of, like, she knows me. And if she doesn't even love me, maybe I'm not lovable.
You know, as cool as superhero movies are, we cannot read each other's thoughts. Speaking up and letting them know what's going on in your brain is important. And even after that, letting them know what's going on in your brain and what you're thinking and what you're feeling. At that point, there could be situations where everything is not about you, and people could be experiencing things that are heavier than how you're perceived by that person in a friendship or a relationship. It's also not just about dumping your feelings on somebody else. It's about offering them the chance and the informed consent to know what the conversation's going to be about, and then letting them know that they can choose to not have that conversation with you too.
Right. And I really started just like, and I had been working on my self-esteem for several years before this thing happened. And I thought that I was likable and lovable. And in fact, I don't know how long y'all have been following me, but when I was at Beachbody, now Body, I ended up, my Instagram account was big at the time. It was growing a lot. I was getting a ton of engagement. So I was getting a lot of love from people. And then I was also finding a lot of success at my company. So I was getting a lot of likes and attention. And I was basically borrowing other people's confidence to say, oh, you are good enough. Because these people care what you have to say, you're good enough. And I thought at the time that was genuine confidence. I thought I was really confident. I would tell you back when you can look at my stuff, it was like, oh no, I can let myself be seen here. I get to be exactly who I am. But then as I made the pivot into life coaching, and I started pulling away from my social media, like I stopped feeling as aligned with that, and the engagement started going down, the numbers started going down, and I was pulling away from my fitness business. Then, the time my name in lights wasn't happening anymore, and I wasn't getting the recognition. And I also noticed my confidence was going down with it. And so I realized now that it was false confidence. It was borrowed. It was because you all are telling me that I'm likable, I can believe that I'm likable. But that's not inherent. That's not innate. That means I have to say it. I'm still hustling for my worthiness. I'm still hustling to belong. Right. And so the mission that I've been on for the last several years is to insource that, to bring it on board.
Wouldn't a licensed clinician help you insource that? There are some things that I don't think can work through without a licensed clinician. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but you can't insource everything because everything becomes relative if all of your measures are messed up because of your life experiences or trauma or ABCDEFG. Sometimes you feel like maybe 3 inches is actually 6 inches, but when you work with a licensed clinician, they say, no, you're off about this. Your measurements are off. Your emotional measurements are off because you think that 3 inches is 6 inches, but it's actually only 3 inches. And you can have that aha moment, and then you can continue to reset and realign and recalibrate your interactions, not because you've insourced it, but because you're working with someone who's ethical and who has experience and expertise and licensure.
And just to decide. But I remember then when it happens really close to home. And so this is someone that I thought was a soulmate of mine that I loved so much, and I was perceiving rejection. And my brain made it mean like, you were right all along. You always did suck. You knew it. You knew you were a piece of shit. And look, this person that knows you doesn't even like you. Therefore, you're not likable. And I started really exploring this thought and being like, why am I clinging to this so hard? Is this true? And I remember I was going for a run and I was thinking about, is it possible that I am inherently unlikable? What my brain was telling me, that I was just nobody likes me. I was insignificant. And I started thinking about is it possible for anyone to be inherently unlikable? And I was thinking about people that have annoyed me, these know-it-alls or these one-uppers or the people that are just so loud, they always have to have the spotlight on them. They just kind of bug me, right? They irritate me. And I think, ugh, you are so annoying. And then I'm like, but you're married. So someone decided, yes, I like you enough to spend my life. I see you going out with friends. You have dinners and tailgate and do all these. Your parents love you. I see you have kids and your kids love you. So maybe you are actually likable and lovable, just not by me. And maybe I am likable and lovable, just not by every other human on the planet. Right? So
I'm glad that Ashlie Molstad has people in her life that love her and like her. I'm not making this video so that more people will not like her. I think her behavior in pretending to be, I think she's pretending to be a licensed clinician. I think that she is inserting herself into areas that only a licensed clinician should delve into. I think that some of the situations that she gets into with some of the people who bought her course at the end of this call could get really messed up.
Maybe if someone's rejecting me, it has nothing to do with me, but the way that they're seeing me. Because when I don't like another person, it actually has nothing to do with them, but the way that I'm perceiving them, the lens with which I'm viewing them.
I mean, there's sometimes that behavior, like being a bully, you cannot like that about someone.
And so it was, then I just started being like, oh, okay, so this is a story that I'm choosing to tell myself. Why in the world would I choose to tell myself that? So then I did a little bit more exploring of my brain, right? I'm journaling and I'm thinking, and I do some of my best thinking when I'm either journaling or if I'm out walking or running. And I was thinking, why am I so committed to getting to the truth, to knowing that I am unlikable? And I thought, you've been in a situation before and you're with people and someone leaves and everybody talks about that person like, oh my God, they're so blah, 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 right? And I've thought consciously before, I never want to be the person that isn't self-aware enough to know that they're annoying or that everybody's talking about them. So like, I know I'm a piece of shit. You're not going to catch me not knowing that about myself. I know it. I get it, that I suck, right? I wanted to be so self-aware. And then it's like, I had to ask myself, why? People say ignorance is bliss as if it's a bad thing, like ignorance is bliss, you're an idiot. It's like, I'm the only one that is living in my brain for the rest of my life. And I started realizing that it doesn't necessarily matter what is true. What if I am an absolute piece of shit that nobody likes? What if I am really unlikable and annoying and too much just in general? Like, what if that is coded in my DNA? How does it serve me to believe that? What is it doing? What am I gaining from that? What's the upside? I'm just gaining depression and a miserable life. Why am I?
Because if something that you're doing is preventing you from being able to be friends with people, that is sad. People want to have connections with others. I don't know why I'm like so emotional watching this, and I've already watched it once.
Choosing it. I actually would rather think I am incredible and amazing. And if everybody else thinks that I'm annoying and I suck, but I think I'm amazing, I'm living great. I'm having a great fucking time in this life. I don't need y'all to like me because I like myself enough. Right? And so I was like, do I really want to be so self-aware that I know for sure I suck? Because when I know for sure I suck, then I feel insecure, I feel ashamed, and then I act from that place, which is like, a muted, watered down version of myself. I don't laugh. I don't want to have my sense of humor. I'm afraid of what they're thinking of me. So I'm just like this little miniature watered down version of me, and I'm not having fun and I'm not enjoying it. And it's like, what? Okay. So then I just started exploring the idea of,
and I'll say this call is in total not sped up 1 hour, 33 minutes and 46 seconds. And we came in a little bit after her singing to the song so that we wouldn't get copyright slapped. I wouldn't want to clip her out of context so that y'all can decide for yourselves about if her behavior is unethical or not.
Maybe the truth is irrelevant. What matters is what we believe and how what we believe makes us feel. And I want to enjoy life. We had this retreat a couple weeks ago, and I kicked off the retreat by saying, I know it's scary being here. You're in this group of women, and our brains tend to, with the primal brain wired for survival, it is constantly scanning the world for threats. So it's constantly looking for threats. And way back when, threats were a matter of life and death, right? A bear hunting you, dying of starvation or dehydration, doing something so wrong you were ousted from the tribe, because if you had no tribe, you would die on your own, right? It was a matter of life and death. But these...
Ashlie? Racism? Bigotry? What? People still getting lynched? People still getting tracked down for their skin color? That's still a thing. That's still a thing. So you saying that there's no danger to look out for, you obviously are a little bit out of tune, out of touch with reality. But since you create your own reality with your mind, I guess maybe the true reality of the situation doesn't really matter to you.
These days, those fears really are a matter of ego. Not a lot of the things that we're afraid of are actually a matter of life and death.
People being pulled over and them getting discriminatory treatment because of their skin color, and then that interaction leading to someone being unalived. I'm trying to use safe words for YouTube. You're out of touch, Ashlie, in my opinion.
It's not really survival, but it does keep you from living your fullest life. And so I said to them, I want you to come in here. I know you're doubting yourself and you want to show us the version that the world has told you to be. I want you to show us the version, like think of who you're the most comfortable with. And I want you to act like that this week. Because listen, if none of us like you, who gives a shit? You never have to see us again. I want you to like you. And the best version of you is always going to be the most confident version of you. And yes, maybe people won't like the most confident version of you. The problem right now is there are people that don't like you now when you show the masked you to the world, and you're one of them. So what matters most is your thoughts about you. You have to decide, I want to feel better. And then you have to decide, it's a little bit irrelevant whether or not I suck as an individual. It's a little bit irrelevant whether or not I've earned my place here. What matters more is how do I feel living my life right now? So my brain, there has been more perceived rejection, since I've been on this mission, and I just sort of observe it. I've become a conscious, compassionate observer of my brain. Instead of I'm a piece of shit, nobody likes me, I can be like, whoa, okay, my brain is thinking that I'm a piece of shit, nobody likes me. Where is that coming from? You're feeling like this just happened recently, actually. I was with friends that I've been friends with for 20 years. And I remember just feeling like judged and not understood and feeling like they didn't really want me there. And normally, and I could feel the muscle memory is like, I just shrink myself and I just like stay like I become a wallflower, right? And we were out doing stuff. And I just was like, I just want to get through this day. I just want to get up, the people don't want me. And then I heard my brain saying like, they've known you for 20 years and they don't like you. Therefore, you're not like, and then I was like, I recognize this thought pattern. I'm on to you, brain. I get it. That's the kind of stuff we use to think about ourselves.
Is there not an opportunity to say, is there truth to my feeling that there's something off with our relationship? And is there anything that I've done to offend or hurt you? And if you don't feel safe to be able to answer that now, I understand. I would love the opportunity to apologize if I've done anything wrong.
I get it. Thank you for trying to keep me safe and protect me. You developed this conclusion out of an abundance of love at some point, but I no longer want to think that. And as I was sitting there in the moment, I was able to change my brain to be like, not they don't like me, I'm unlikable, but maybe I've outgrown this friendship. And I love them and I'm not mad at them.
That's what you jump to? You've been friends for 20 years. You jump to, maybe I've outgrown this friendship, instead of using your words and saying like, is there something salvageable here?
And I have complete compassion for them, right? It's not like you were treating me shitty and I'm out. It's like, maybe we're just different people now and that friendship's run its course. And then maybe sadness is appropriate there, but self-rejection certainly is not. And that's not something I'm willing to entertain anymore. Doesn't mean my brain doesn't offer me those types of thoughts, right? My brain still goes there, but that's my primal brain. That's my subconscious brain. That's the thought that at some point when I was little, I observed. And then my brain took decades of evidence proving that I am too much, that I'm too intense, that I'm too loud, that I'm embarrassing, that I'm annoying, right? It found all this evidence to prove that true. Doesn't make it true. It just makes it a belief that I've practiced enough that it feels true. And now I'm committed to believing something else. Now, my brain is going to resist that because it doesn't like change. But it's not up to my brain anymore. My primal brain is still allowed to be there. It's just no longer driving the car. It's like you can scoot to the passenger seat and it's still going to talk. Those thoughts are still going to come. And I'm like, oh, I hear you. And I have love and compassion, but I'm cruising. We're going this way now. We're not going that way because it doesn't feel good to go that way anymore. Right? When we were little, we kind of had to be who, especially when we're dependent on our parents, kind of had to be who our parents wanted us to be to get that love. But now we don't need that anymore. A lot of us want our parents' love, but we don't necessarily need it.
There's something about being a participating member of the family by helping keep the house clean or keep your room clean and picked up. But like, there's some things that are like, we're teaching you how to be a healthy human and also get along with groups, but know that we're all doing this together to make this co-living situation positive. And you then get to be who you want to be. If she's saying what I think she's saying, it feels twisty.
What we need now is our own. So I need you to make the decision. I want to feel better. I can see that I learned to feel a certain way about myself, and the way that I learn, like, even though it feels so true right now, we're not moving into changing that thought yet. All I want you to do is create some space between I am my thoughts and I'm the thinker of my thoughts. That's it. That's where we start. And I know that's subtle and small, and you want to make the switch flip so that you can just love yourself, but that's not how it works. We are rewiring a neural pathway. If you think about it like fitness, and you've been doing, you've been training, this is going to be silly, but you guys will learn this about me. My analogies are all over the place. You've been training your arms your whole life, right? So your arms are very strong. And just because your arms are strong, now you're like, I want to work on my legs. So I'm going to stop training my arms, and I need my legs to be really strong. And then you demand them to be as strong as your arms were after decades of training your arms. Your legs just aren't going to do that. It takes time. Right? And there's going to be a part of your brain that's like, well, just go.
So this is from research.coloradostate.edu. It is a study from 2022. And I don't know if it's from a study, I'm sorry. How to Rewire Your Brain, Center for Healthy Aging. And they're talking about changing neural pathways There's scholarly articles available. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural pathways throughout life and in response to experiences. While the brain usually does this itself in response to injury or disease, when humans focus their attention enough, they can slowly rewire these pathways themselves. And I'm guessing doing it with a licensed clinician can help, or doing it with an occupational therapist or a speech therapist or a physical therapist.
You have to train your arms. It's easier. You know you're going to feel strong then versus feeling weak when you go to train your legs, and you can lift more with your arms than you can with your legs, right? Like, but it's you're rewiring a neural pathway. It takes time. You've got to be patient. So that's why I like to call it a compassionate observer of your brain. You are not your thoughts. You are just the thinker of them, right? Okay. So I have some notes here, but of course I have gone off track because I always do. So let me get back here, right? So your first step is to decide that you want to feel better. Not just, yeah, that would be great if it was easy, but then the second it gets hard, you're out. No, you are all in, right? Because the brain does not like change. So it is going to resist you. Anticipate that. It is going to get loud and try to tell you, no, you are actually, your thoughts about you are true, right? Anticipate that and then talk back to it. It's like sitting there and you're watching a TV show, right? You sit in this chair and you're watching the TV and you don't like what's on. So you just complain about what's on TV. And they're like, well, why don't you just get up and change the channel? Like, well, sometimes I like what comes on. Sometimes it feels good. So I just let it play, right? I don't like what's on most of the time. And so I just complain and I'm mad about what's on TV most of the time. But it's like, get the F up and change the channel. Tune in to a different station. If you don't like what is playing, change the channel.
It is not.
And if you can't find a reason to love yourself yet, I want you to spend some time.
I'm sorry, humans are not TVs. And sometimes it is hard to even recognize your thought patterns.
Time sinking into the people who love you and how much you love them. I remember, one of my favorite people on the planet is my best friend, Colleen. And as I started, she's who I host, you can sit with us with. And as I started really deciding, I want to treat myself the way I would my own best friend, right? If I want to be someone that I love, I have to treat myself the way that I treat people that I love. And I think the world of Colleen, and Colleen thinks the world of me. And there's always been an asterisk next to that, like, well, yeah, but not really. She doesn't actually love me because of my own damn thoughts. And I just started being like, what if it's true? Why would she lie to me? Right? And so I started borrowing the way that she treated me and the things that she said to me as my own confidence. So when my confidence started to shake, I'd be like, would Colleen say that to me? If not, I'm not thinking it, brain. I'm not going along with this. Right? So
I don't necessarily disagree with what she's saying. And I'm glad she has a close friend who loves her and she loves her best friend. That's cool.
Think of someone that just loves you and maybe you've been like, I'm unworthy.
There may be some people that don't have those close relationships and they're not able to make that reference. There has to be advice out there somewhere that isn't based in that isn't subjective.
You have their love, but just try on the thought. Maybe it's true. Maybe I'm totally worthy of the love that they give me. Right? So I want you to really just start looking at the thoughts and seeing what ones are repetitive and coming up for you and being more intentional with this one doesn't feel good to think, so this is what I want to work on. And we're not going to overhaul your whole life in 4 weeks, but it's amazing how when you see what you can do in one area, it shows you what's possible in all areas. Okay. All right. Now there were actually quite a few questions about model examples. So I talked about the model, doing some models in the emails this week. And I'm going to run you through a couple of examples. When I say nothing has to change for you to feel better, except for your thoughts.
Oh, God.
I'm going to give you a couple of examples. Okay, so
there are interconnectedness between chronic pain and your mental health / working on depression, and that your chronic health can impact your brain's chemistry and stuff like that. Are you in pain because you're depressed, or are you depressed because you're in pain? It's connected, but sometimes it doesn't help anybody, but sometimes taking some things together. I'm not giving any advice. I'm just saying those can be associated, and it's not just fixing your brain and that's going to fix everything else in your life. You don't create your reality with your mind.
One, if you was listening to my podcast recently on resenting your spouse, it came back to parenting. Okay, so there was a time where there's facts. So there's as we tell a story, there's going to be facts, and facts are things that could be proved in a court of law. Everyone would agree. 100% of people on the planet, we could prove it. We can agree on it. And then all facts, all circumstances are neutral. They don't become positive or negative until you have a thought about them. So we can put in the circumstance line, John's parenting. John is my husband. right? And one of my thoughts was, because I do, as an Enneagram 3, everything I do, I want to do it to the max. I want to be the best. So I'm a parent.
Proving a fact requires evidence, so maybe that's what she's about to say. I'm nervous because she's about to, I'm guessing, throw her spouse under the bus because of different parenting styles.
And I am constantly researching parenting and learning about how to be the best parent and all of that, right? I am more of a gentle parent. I am more of a, I don't know. I treat my kids like, I try to be very respectful. I try to do respectful parenting. John is more authoritarian, right? So I have a thought, he's fucking up our kids. Not the best thought, not one I would want to be thinking, right? But when I was thinking, when I think the thought, so the circumstance is John's parenting. The thought is he's fucking up our kids. That made me feel angry. And when I was angry, I acted rude to him. I put distance with him. I would snap at him. I'd correct him. I'd coach him. I had a short fuse. I was judging him. And the result is I'm kind of effing up our relationship, which ultimately is also effing up our kids. I don't feel like that towards someone.
If your spouse is fucking up your kids, then as the responsible parent, if John is even irresponsible, maybe it's something that you sacrificed your relationship with your spouse to protect your kids. And I'm not saying that authoritarian style parenting is in itself dangerous. But I'm saying as a person with a fully formed brain and can know if your kid is in danger or not, then it is not something to just let it go if you think that your spouse is doing something that's going to permanently harm your children.
That I love and I'm raising other humans with. No, thank you, brain. So then his parenting stays the same. He's still authoritarian. And I got coached on it, right? I took this to my coaching and she helped me see, and I do believe that there are no accidents in this universe. Now, in the intake form, I asked you guys what your spiritual beliefs are. And most of you said God, but I was just curious, you know, as I'm presenting information. So for me, it's the universe, it's a higher power. And I definitely believe there's a higher power. I don't believe in God or heaven, but I believe in a higher power. Now, if that offends you, I would do a model on it because I don't feel your offense. You're feeling your offense. So decide how you want to feel instead. But if it doesn't, just interchange, right? I used to think like, I can't listen to that. It's a religious book. And now I'm just like, I can listen to anything. I could go to church and anytime they talk about God, I would just replace it with the universe because that feels better to me. Okay. So as I'm sharing, take what your belief system and just interchange it. If it's God for you, then it's God. Okay. Anyway, so I do really have this belief that it's not an accident that John and I are Revy and Max parents. They chose us.
No, I don't understand where she's going that everything happens for a reason. Hell no. And again, she's saying this, everything happens for a reason. And then I infer that everything is supposed to happen the way it happens or whatever. No, there's evil people in the world and there's people who choose to do evil things to one another.
We are absolutely on purpose. Their mom and dad, right? So that was then a thought that I could think. He is their dad on purpose. The other thing,
just because you're someone's parent on purpose doesn't mean that every action that you're going to take as a parent is the right action for your kid.
That my coach / therapist, she's both a life coach and a therapist, said was, and it's also really important that they see different people and interact with different people because they're not going to, if you and your husband are the exact same, it actually is a disservice to them when they go out into the world and they're going to be interacting with more authoritarian people or more bossy people or more intense people or whatever, right? Like
all of the language that she used to describe John seems to be more negative, and all the language that she uses to describe herself seem to be more positive with regards to her parenting techniques.
Like it's actually a great gift to them that they get two different styles. And when I think he's their dad on purpose, or it's important for them to experience different styles, I feel confident, calm, peaceful, and then I act from that place, which is like, I'm tolerant, I'm more open, I'm connected, I'm loving. And the results are the kids and us have a better experience. He's the exact same. My thoughts changed, so did everything else. I also have another model for you is my mom's parenting. So some things happened when I was little that made me, not little, when I was in high school and college, that made me really resentful of my mom. And I used to think like, I have to feel this way because look at what she did. And if I told you guys the story, you'd be like, oh my God, that is awful, right? But that's not helpful, really. When people agree with that your husband's a piece of shit or your mother-in-law is toxic or your boss sucks, when you tell them, your friends, they're being good friends by supporting you. Oh my God, I agree. That must be so hard. That sounds.
Not all of your friends agree with you on every single thing. You know how many friends that I had last week come to me with direct yet civil and respectful commentary about me purchasing that ring from Bomb Party, and we had discussions where sometimes we left still disagreeing with one another and yet still being respectful to one another and still being kind to one another.
Awful, blah, 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 right? But that doesn't actually help you feel better. It just helps you feel vindicated in feeling like shit. So the choosing a different thought is for you, not them. So I had this thought, putting the circumstance line in my mom's parenting without getting, there's facts we could prove, but we're just for this exercise, we're going to say mom's parenting. My thought was I should have had a better mom. That made me feel angry or resentful. And then it made me judge her. I would get heated. I cut off the relationship. I would sit in frustration. I played the victim. I felt, made me weak, whatever. And the result was I missed all the good parts of her and it was robbing me of my present peace. So keep in this, if I want to feel better, she doesn't have to change. And I also can't change the past.
You can also feel better without them changing, and you don't necessarily have to pick up the relationship. I don't think that this is really helpful general advice to be offering.
So staying in the fact line and the circumstance line is my mom's parenting. My thought became, I learned so much from her. She was my mom on purpose. I found all kinds of reasons why, right? I felt grateful. And the other thought that I had that was she was doing the best that she could.
Don't let gratitude cover up your gut instincts that will keep you safe in relationships.
Even though her best is not what I would have wanted for myself, it was what apparently I needed for my soul's evolution.
No, you do not need trauma for your soul's evolution. If something bad happens to people, like trauma, it shouldn't have happened to you. Some people respond to trauma by being able to empathize with other people. Some people can never get through a traumatic interaction. I think it's really twisty to say that trauma was supposed to happen to people. I don't agree with that at all.
I have a lot of compassion. So I have gratitude and compassion for her now, which is shocking if you knew what was in my brain and how I felt about her years ago, right? But when I'm in gratitude and compassion, I let go of my anger. I channel more peace and love. I stop rejecting parts of myself or my life. I stop blaming someone else for my current situation. And the result is I continue learning and growing and now feel more love.
If someone did something shitty to you, it's okay sitting with the realization that they did something shitty and horrible and awful to you.
I was never supposed to have a different mom. It was always supposed to be her. Third model example I'm going to give you is my body. Okay, so years ago when I was fully entrenched in diet culture, I always felt like I needed to lose weight. So I have a body, we could prove that in a court of law. Let's say I weigh 150 pounds, okay? 150 pounds. And my thought was, I need to lose weight. And when I thought that, I felt disgusted. And when I was disgusted, I was feeling disgusted because I think I need to lose weight, I would start a diet. I'd be very strict. I'd deprive myself, restrict myself. I'd exercise a ton. I'd buckle down. I'd beat myself up. The result is I fall off and I don't lose weight. And I still am disgusted with myself. I still weigh 150 pounds, right? So my body is the same. You put that in the circumstance line. My now thought is, I can't wait to see how good I can feel. And this is actually an old thought. My thought now is this body is amazing. I don't have to like the way that it looks to just have immense gratitude for it. But for the sake of this, I moved into the thought, I can't wait to see how good I can feel. That made me feel excited. And from excitement, thinking I want to see how good I can feel, I ate well. I prioritized nourishment, sleep, hydration, good thoughts, mind management.
Trim Fit, does that ring a bell? Anita Myron, the team you're a part of, does that ring a bell? Beachbody, Energize, Shakeology, does that ring a bell?
Choosing well, being kind to myself, not feeling guilty, right? All kinds of actions, some of which the actions are similar to what I did when I felt disgusting, right? But it feels very different because the motivation is very different. And then the result is I'm losing weight with joy and ease because it feels good. So nothing changed. I'm still 150 pounds then, 150 pounds now, but my relationship with my body is entirely different only because my thinking changed.
I'll just say this. I think that there are lots of people who would love to have her figure. And I'm still figuring out how to appreciate the body that I'm in and the weight that I'm at. And I think it's a process. I don't think that Ashley's giving us all the details here, knowing that she is a top affiliate of Trim Fit.
Right. So this is why we work on the T line. So I hope that helps you see a little bit, breaks down some of the models, right? So you have facts, then you have a thought about the fact. And then that thought makes you feel a certain way. You take action from that feeling, and those actions will produce a result that reinforces the thought. This is how it works. Now, let's do some coaching. Let's do some coaching. Who would like coaching?
Let me quickly remind you, if listening to two individuals talk about their situations, one of them with a verbally aggressive mother-in-law and another one with an abusive relationship with her husband who cheated on her, then this is the part of the video you need to hop out on. And sure, I'll take a pity like if you would like the video so other people can find out about the twistiness of this coaching that she's selling. But I just want to warn you, it's coming right now. The first one's going to be the mother-in-law. The last one's going to be the husband-wife-child situation.
There's a few people that raised hands. So, oh, quite a few people raised hands. Okay.
Yeah, you spent 44 minutes and 16 seconds just talking about stuff. She's going to talk for about 50 minutes to the people who needed help, and she could have been just helping people this whole time.
I would like to do, I guess I'm just going to start at the top. I don't know how this, if that's like the first person that raised your hand, but I'm going to promote you to panelist. You need to make sure that you have your sound and video on, and that you are like not driving, you have good internet, you know. Okay.
You uploaded this in 360p. You don't get to ask someone for good internet when you don't even download or upload a 720 to YouTube, okay?
And then unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Okay. What are we coaching on? Tell me what's going on in that beautiful brain of yours.
My mother-in-law is toxic.
Okay. Tell me why.
Because like my husband is gonna need a total hip replacement towards the end of the month. It's scheduled, and she is flying from Michigan to help. And I don't want help. I don't need help. But she's coming anyways, and she is a very negative person. I have 4 kids, and when they come home from school, my little one, Mikey, would just throw his backpack and not hang it up. And I know she's going to point that out, and I know that's going to drive me insane. I tell him to pick it up every time. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. She points out everything. Like her heart is in the right place. She would try to help with laundry, for example, but then she would leave them on the couch, and I feel like I have to go pick them up right away, even if I'm in the middle of something else. And she would point it out, like, "Oh, I did your laundry," and I'm thinking in my head, "But I didn't ask you. Like, I can do it myself later. I don't want to put it away now." So she does little things like that. She complains that she comes all the time, like towards the holiday season, and holidays are coming, and it just happened that there's surgery, so I know it's going to be an extended stay, and it's not serving me because I've been negative for weeks now, and she's not coming till another 20 days, so I don't want to go overboard when she does come, so I'm preparing myself, but it's not working.
Let me ask you about the laundry thing. When she said, "Hey, I did your laundry," let me turn my fan on because I got the passion sweat going. "Hey, I did your laundry," or she does the laundry and leaves it on the couch, and you say, "I know I'm going to feel like I have to put it away right away." And she'll say, "Hey, I did your laundry," like she'll call it out. What comes up for you then? Like, why shouldn't she be calling that out? Or what do you feel when she says that stuff?
Like, I have to, like, I am not capable of doing it. Like, I can do it myself. I just want to do it on my own time. I thank you, you helped, thank you, you did it now, but I'm the one running with 4 kids, dropping off at school, picking up, doing after school activities. So you're sitting home when I leave, you can do it, but I don't know. Like, I can do it myself. I don't need your help. I don't want your help. And I definitely don't want you to tell me to point it out. Like, I see it and I want to put.
Why do you want her to point it out though? What does it make you feel when she's pointing that out?
Like I'm lacking. Like, I should have done it before I left. I should have somehow fit it in, regardless of how my day was.
Is that shame or is it insecurity? I know we get into anger, which our brains like to do, right? But because you're like, she shouldn't be saying this. There's something before that happens, and it's making you feel like what she's judging you, so you're feeling insecure, like she's thinking you're not a good housewife or something, or what?
I think so.
There's so many of her pushing her, like, assumptions on this customer. She's not asking good questions, in my opinion, that are helping this lady get to like the parts that she's struggling with. And should Ashlie be the one to be in the situation? Hell no.
Oh, probably insecure. Like super mom, super everything, regardless of, like, I went to drop the kids off. I put a load in the laundry, in the dryer, come home and she folded it. Of course I can't fold it because I was driving. So like I should have still been able to put it away before I left. Like just be on top of everything.
Again, she's giving clues to Ashlie about stuff Ashlie could respond to, and Ashlie continues to ask really awful questions.
You're feeling insecure because you're thinking what?
I should have everything done.
She's said this like 5 times. Ashlie continues to say, so you're feeling what? So you're thinking what? She's said it so many times already.
Which is very interesting. And I'm not sure if that's true because
I'm not sure if that's true.
don't actually believe that. You don't actually believe I should have everything done. You're like, I'm driving in the car, so I actually can't do it. So is the thought she thinks? Is it something about she's thinking something about you?
Maybe I think like maybe she's judging me because like I'm not on top of everything all the time or didn't get things done when she thinks that I should have gotten it done.
Yeah. Okay. So you're feeling, because right, we can put in the fact line, mother-in-law says, hey, I did your laundry and laundry's on the couch. We could prove that. Okay. But anything else that comes after that is totally optional in your brain. And your brain has a thought, maybe she's out of line or she's judging me.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
Why shouldn't she be judging you?
Because it's rude. It's not her house. There could be additional cultural factors about the in-law relationship that should be an important facet to this conversation.
Because I'm busy.
Oh, okay. So she shouldn't judge you because you're busy. If you think she's judging me, how do you feel?
She's filling out the form right now as this person's answering the question.
I feel like I'm lacking because I know I do a lot, but sometimes you fall short. So I don't want her to point things out because I know I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you do when you're feeling insecure because you're thinking she's judging me?
I get shitty. I don't mean to, but I do. And then me and my husband end up exchanging words or fight. He'll say something and he'll say, and which is true. Like no matter what my mom does or say, there's a line he will never cross. And he says, well, the respect is not mutual because you do it. And then I go to point out what his mom said and done and been doing all week long. And then he says, again, it's my mom. It's hard to hear. I agree with you. So he supports it or like.
Okay. How are you acting?
She didn't even get to finish her statement. And Ashlie is like talking over her again.
Towards her when you're feeling insecure because you're thinking she's judging me.
She just said she's treating her shitty. She just said that. You are not listening to the person who's talking to you.
Mean. I say sarcastic comments. I just like the bitch in me comes out.
Yeah, and I'm guessing do you kind of retreat or avoid her?
Yeah. I make it very like it's unwelcome. Like she'll call her daughter, her son, can someone come pick me up? And then I feel bad. But
yeah, because you don't want to do that, right? Okay, so it's so
she's talking over her again.
So fascinating, right? Your brain, like the fact here of the story is mother-in-law says, hey, I did your laundry. Laundry sitting on the couch. And then you have a thought she's judging me, which makes me feel insecure. And so when I'm feeling insecure, you said I get shitty, right? I fight with my husband. I have a short fuse. I say sarcastic comments. I avoid her. I retreat. I make her feel unwelcome. And then the result of all of that is actually you're judging her.
What? She just said earlier on in the call, like just a few minutes ago, that what her mother-in-law is saying and doing that she hasn't had the opportunity to share because Ashlie didn't ask about what the mother-in-law was doing, not just doing the things that were to help the house run, but she mentioned when she was talking to the husband, well, the mother-in-law has been doing this and saying this week. Well, what are those things that she's saying? Ashlie didn't ask that question. This feels a little bit gaslighty.
She's saying, oh, you're thinking you should put your laundry away. And you're thinking she's judging me. But really, you're thinking you should stop doing things. I'm judging you. Like you're actually judging her, right? But I think
No, the mother-in-law is judging the daughter-in-law. And because the mother-in-law may be wanting to help, there are also probably some snarky comments coming out. Who knows? We don't know because Ashlie hasn't asked any of that information.
Issue also, so just see that. But the other thing is, why does it matter if she's judging you?
Because life is probably unbearable to live in the house, taking care of a total hip replacement situation, the kids, and the mother-in-law being frustrated about how the daughter-in-law is raising the kids or doing the house. We don't know because Ashlie didn't ask those questions.
What if she thinks you're not doing enough?
Why don't you let your client talk at some point?
Why would that be a problem? Why do you need her to think that you're doing enough?
I don't know.
You do know. Ashlie could do a better job at, again, we don't know what Ashlie could do better because she's a life coach, and I don't think this is appropriate.
Think that you do enough?
I do.
Believe that you're doing enough?
Yeah, I go above and beyond.
I could not do any more than I'm doing, okay? So if that is true, so what if she thinks it's not enough? Why is that a problem? For your brain, not consciously, but I want you to go like, what comes up for me if she thinks I'm not doing enough? Why is that a problem if she's judging you?
It shouldn't be.
Why shouldn't she be judging you though? Why isn't she allowed to have opinions?
No, like it shouldn't be a problem for me.
But it is. So I'm not judging you at all right now. This is just your brain. It's just understanding your brain. Your brain.
And this is my opinion. How Ashlie is talking, and yes, it's a little bit faster than it should be. It's at 1.25 speed. How Ashlie is looking at this person maybe is unintentional. It doesn't really come across as a safe, non-judgmental conversation for the person who's just met Ashlie for the first time.
Brain is making it mean something. And the fact that you don't even believe, like, you're like, there literally isn't anything more I could do. I'm doing the most. I'm going above and beyond. And yet it's never enough for her, or it's not enough for her. So what?
I guess it's just
So what if she thinks like your son's backpack's on the ground?
The client tried to speak because Ashlie is pushing her own thoughts on the person. She's not giving the client enough time to speak, which seems to be a valuable thing if you are actually a licensed clinician, which you're not.
And she thinks, whoa, she doesn't have a hold of her household.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And why isn't she allowed to think that? Just because she thinks it doesn't make it true.
Because he's 6. Like, I tell him to pick it up. I mean, he's 6. So what if he hangs it up sometimes and he...
Okay, but listen to me.
Listen to me. Did you just hear that? I still have my twisty bracelet on from the Happyish brand. I will link the Happyish brand below. My mom worked with Kate from the Happyish brand, and she made me this little purple twisty bracelet, and it's so cute. Sorry, we're back.
Saying she's wrong for thinking the way that she's thinking.
Yeah.
But she's also thinking you're wrong for running the household the way that you run the household. This is kind of back to where I was saying, it doesn't actually, neither of those things are true. It's just the lens that you're viewing it in. You decided, I talked to him, I told him to put the backpack away. I'm doing my best and my best is enough. Now you're also like, but my best should be enough for her too. I need her to appreciate it. I just want to show you that you don't actually need that. And when you feel like you need it or you want her to be different, then it causes all kinds of contention then you actually are not running the household the way that you want, right? Because now you're fighting with your husband. Yeah. And you're resentful of your mother-in-law who's going to be in your life. And you're feeling shitty. And you're only feeling shitty because you have a thought she shouldn't be thinking this way. She's totally entitled to think what she wants. It doesn't make it true. If you can then go into your brain and you're like, it's okay that she thinks I'm not doing enough because I know that I am. And you even said, I wrote it down because you said her heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
She is so well-intended and yet she still has thoughts. She would run her household differently. She's more than inclined to do that.
The cultural aspect should come into play in this therapy session, in my opinion, because it's not just, it should be enough for her to be able to do what she wants and I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to be able to run my household. There's an additional aspect here that we're not talking about because Ashlie doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
But I think you need to double down on having your own back. And I think you kind of need to do some work on tolerating the discomfort of her judging you.
Tolerating the discomfort of her judging you? Just handle the verbal abuse better. Okay, got it, Ashlie. Thanks so much. Thanks so much for that valuable insight.
Okay.
You're saying, I would feel better if you were different. But when we do that, like if you just didn't judge me and you didn't call me out on things, then I could feel better. But when we do that, we rob ourselves of the opportunity to learn how much power we have. How can I, knowing she's going to say things about the backpack on the ground and the laundry, like what is a thought that you could think? How do you want to feel about your mother-in-law?
What's a thought you could think, or what's the words we can use to communicate?
Like she's not judging me, like she doesn't think that I'm lacking or don't
No, but
have.
we can't change her.
Right.
She's still judging you. She still thinks you lack. Knowing that, how do you want to feel about her? We're not changing anything about her. She stays the exact same.
If she's judging me and she's thinking that what I'm doing is lacking, I don't have to think good thoughts about her. I can be respectful to her, but I can also be direct and assertive and have boundaries. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that plan of action?
I want to appreciate that she's taken the time to come and help because it's an extensive surgery. I want to appreciate that she finished the laundry. All I have to do is put it away instead of doing it from A to Z. I want to be thankful and appreciate.
Appreciative and grateful.
Yeah.
What do you think that you might have to, I mean, some of the things you just said actually, but what do you think you would have to think to feel appreciative and grateful?
If there's nothing to feel grateful for, then why do I have to be grateful? Or if there is there still room to be grateful for the things and then also call out the bullshit?
I just have to tolerate what she says.
I just have to tolerate what she says. What is she saying to you? Can you give me an example? That would be a question I would ask.
I don't
But
know.
tolerating it is not going to make you feel appreciative and grateful. But the things that you just said were, she's coming out. It is a very extensive surgery.
Yeah.
She's making time. She's helping.
Yeah.
She's here trying to help. And sometimes her help isn't what you want, but that she's still here. She has a good heart. Her heart is in the right place and she's trying to help. You don't have to manage her. She doesn't have to change. You just have to manage your mind. It's okay if she thinks I'm not doing enough. I don't actually, right? She is here trying.
It's not what she's thinking, it's what she's saying. Am I in a different, planet? What is happening?
To help. If I want to stay in gratitude and feel appreciative, she doesn't have to change.
She doesn't
My
have to
thoughts
change.
about her do.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Wow.
And it's for you. This is not for her. It's not so she can have a better experience. It's so that you can have a better experience while she's there. Because you said it's going to be an extended stay. So if she's there for weeks, your husband's having surgery. Do you want to be walking around on eggshells and being resentful of her?
You don't have to walk around on eggshells with people. You can speak up and use your words.
Like that's for you to feel.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
instead, I want to decide.
She's allowed to think what she wants about me. I know I'm doing my best and I know her heart is in the right place.
People can think whatever they want about you, but when they start saying something about you that's incorrect or hurtful or harmful, you get to stand up for yourself. 100% you do.
How do you feel when you think, I know her heart is in the right place?
It makes me feel good.
She is, in my opinion, the tentativeness about what she's saying maybe says a little bit to me about she's trying to pick the right thing that Ashlie agrees with.
It makes me not resent her or hate what she says. I know she's coming.
You're saying hate what she says or tolerate what she says, and then Ashlie keeps going on this kick about thoughts. It's not about thoughts. The mother-in-law is saying something to this lady. We've already heard 2 clues about that, and Ashlie hasn't said one thing about it.
from a good place.
She has the best intentions, okay? How are you showing up? So let's say a thought could be her heart.
What if someone says, you know what, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Oh, but they had good thoughts when they were saying you're a piece of shit. So you need to be able to be grateful that their intentions were good.
Is in the right place and you feel grateful. How do you think you would act if you felt grateful towards her?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't make sarcastic comments. I would be nicer. And I wouldn't fight with my husband.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't that sound like a better way?
No, this sounds like emotionally toxic quagmire of Merc.
Yeah.
Strip.
Because then the whole atmosphere of the house changes when being shitty. Like even with the kids and short fuse, like you can tell just the energy shift.
Yeah.
And it's all from me and nobody's happy.
And you're giving her the credit for this.
Yeah.
You're blaming your suffering on her. But like all that has
What if the reason that you're suffering is because of a specific person?
to change is your thoughts. And then the whole house changes, the whole experience changes.
Wow.
So your brain is trust that she's going to come and she's going to do things that annoy you. And your brain's going to be like, red alert, this is annoying. And you have to be like, how do I want to feel? What kind of person do I want to be right now? I'm going to drop back into her heart is in the right place. I'm doing the best that I can.
She means well.
And she's an old lady, so.
She's an old lady.
Who thinks that her way is the right way.
Yes.
But like, let her come and help you guys. Let it ease things in your house rather than make it so much harder.
Yeah.
She's going to judge you. She's going to think like lots. I mean, my parents come and they have all kinds of opinion. They just say all kinds of things. And I'm like, oh, and I have no issue, right, with confrontations. So I'm like, oh, I don't talk like that about food around my kids or whatever, right? I just correct them. Or I'm just like, well, you're old. Or this is the way that you run your house. I run my house different. Like, I don't need my parents to think that I am the best because I know that I'm doing the best that I can. So like, if you think I could be doing more, that's on you. I've got my own back here. And also, I want to feel love towards you. I don't want to feel judgment.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I don't sometimes feel judgment, right? But I just get to then manage myself. This is a gift. It's a good exercise for your brain. If I want to feel more peace and love and gratitude and appreciative, even when she calls out the laundry in the backpack, it's up to me and what I make that mean. Yeah?
Yep. Do you agree with me? Yep. I wasn't getting the response I was looking for, so yes, respond to me.
Okay, so it'll be a practice. Anticipate that she's going to do something that bugs you. Your brain's going to be annoyed with it. And then how can I change my experience right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to do a model about it.
The model.
Do some journaling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. You got this.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, guys. There's so many people that have their hands raised. So I'm going to pop you back to attendee. And I'm going to just keep coaching a little bit. Change role to attendee. Next up, I'm going to promote you to panelist. Make sure your video's on and you're unmuted. And we'll see how many people we can get to tonight.
Spoiler alert. She did not get to any more people tonight. She only talked to 2 people total. People paid a premium for this, and she only coached 2 people.
Hello.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I had to put my daughter back to bed.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm hearing a bit of an echo. Okay, I think it's better now. All right, what are we coaching on?
Well, a little backstory, and I'm very nervous to share, but so I had a really traumatic miscarriage 2 years ago on New Year's Day. Then my husband and I got pregnant again in April with my daughter that will be 2 in this coming January. I thought during while I was pregnant, my gut, my hormones were all, were just messing with me and everything. And even when I had her, I thought it was postpartum. My stuff postpartum depression? Yeah, like he was trying to convince me I had postpartum depression. Come to find out,
Your husband or your doctor?
No, my husband was trying to convince me I had postpartum. Yeah. Come to find out, he was cheating.
Okay.
While I was pregnant, he is still with said girl. I've never met her. And I hate using this. I use this analogy all the time. She's the size, I feel like she's the size of my thigh. He went from I'm a size 14 to now she's like a size 2. I started therapy when I found out everything, and this happened last year.
I want to say this before we continue. I'm glad she's in therapy. I'm concerned that she's in Ashlie Molstad's, whatever this is, whatever this group is. That's no shade to her and her husband for cheating on her. Douche canoe, okay? She should not be shamed for 1 second. Assholes are going to be assholes, and that's what he did.
And I'm trying to move on, and I've been going to therapy. I've been doing all the things. But I still feel, and I talked to my therapist about this, it's maybe one day I can be okay with her and her being around my daughter. I am thankful she, a couple facts. She seems like a clean person. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't do drugs. And she doesn't, her family looks nice. But I say her morals are in question because she knew I was pregnant. She knew we were married.
Your husband's morals are in question as well as hers. There's something twisty about his girlfriend. There's something also twisty that he did that to you while you were pregnant. It wasn't just, oh, there's too much temptation. If he didn't have that temptation, he wouldn't have done that. That shouldn't have happened to her. And I'm glad she's not with him anymore.
But here recently, I went to a retreat. I've learned I have a lot of anger inside of me, and I don't know what to do with said anger. I have never had a backbone. I have never stood up for myself, spoke up for myself, anything like that. I've always joked and said I'm Switzerland. And whatever anybody wants, I do for them. And I just saw somebody pop up and say anger towards, I don't know. I just know I have a lot of anger. I think it's been built up from a long time of just various different things.
Yeah.
But it comes out as him here recently. And I know once I get rid of this anger or start to work towards getting rid of this anger, it will be better for me. He is your classic narcissist ex-police officer, if that kind of gives you the general idea of what you're working with, or I'm working with. When I was at said retreat, there was a practice where you had to say, I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you. And you had to picture somebody you're angry with. I could not physically say it. It could not come out.
What was it? I love you, I'm sorry, I forgive you?
Yeah, I love you. There's like 4 lines.
You don't have to say you love someone. You don't have to say you're sorry. You didn't do anything wrong. This person did not do anything wrong.
But it was basically, I'm sorry, I love you, I forgive you.
Okay.
And I feel like I can't forgive him. I'm really trying, and there's just something inside of me holding me back. I think part of it is because for the longest time, both of them were saying you're crazy. She still has, I've still not met her. She comes to every pickup, doesn't get out of the truck, but at the same time, I'm not ready to meet her. I know I should, but I'm not ready to because I don't know how I'm going to act. I act very cordial. I mean, I record our conversations at pickups just because it holds me accountable, but also like, because my therapist asked me what was the point of me recording my pickups, and I said because I have proof. She qualified our marriage as domestic violence minus the physical abuse.
I'm sorry that happened to her.
And so I even have family, my grandma even said, well, at least he didn't hit you.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry they said that. They shouldn't have said that to her.
But now I have proof of the abuse. You know, like
because he's still being like, verbally abusive at these exchanges?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. With our daughter in tow, like, he's very verbally abusive
Submit it to the court. I'm glad she's recording it so she has the evidence if so needed in the future.
Like, I've been shoved up against a wall, and I'm very grateful I never had it worse, and I feel for all the women that have, but I've been shoved up against a wall, screamed in my face.
Okay.
So, I will be damned.
Why wouldn't you...
Why are you talking over the person who is sharing the information?
How do you want to feel about? Why do you want to?
I want to feel free of him. Yes, that's really I want to feel free.
Okay. And why don't you feel free right now?
Because I have so much anger towards him. I have so much hatred towards him. Because my daughter, my daughter shouldn't be lived in a split household. But at the same time, like I was talking to my friends, she would not be, and I hate saying like, oh, my child, whatever, is so advanced. But my child would not be as advanced talking as she is right now if we stayed. Because I never talked. He would not let me speak. I was the classic midwife, food on the table. He never did laundry. He never, cleaned toilets, anything like that. Like, I am woman. I do all things. You come home, you sit in this chair, and I literally was serving him plates of food.
Okay.
So, I know it's God's way of saying, like, this is how it's supposed to be, and I am a better person, a better mom because of all of this. I guess I just hate him for doing this. And like part of it is also like if I have a lot of trauma with pregnancy, and now it's like, do I want to ever get pregnant again?
Yeah, because she had a miscarriage, and then her marriage ended because he cheated on her right when she was pregnant. That's awful.
Because of all of this, Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you want to not feel anger towards him. What do you want to feel towards him?
I don't want to feel anything. I mean, as weird as that sounds, I want just be like, you are dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Well, I am dating again. My boyfriend's ex-wife, they have the most amazing co-parenting relationship. Her and I get along. We take all the kids to do stuff, just her and I. We don't need to be best friends like that. But we genuinely just need to get along for our daughter and be able to breathe the same air. My body goes back into fight or flight mode on pickup nights. When I'm on my way to get her, I can feel it.
For sure, because you had things happen to you. Why is Ashlie going to be giving advice on this? Why is Ashlie going to be giving advice on this?
Coming, and then when I leave, I just feel this immense crash.
Oh my God.
So if he's still abusing you now, why would you want to feel neutral about that?
Just because I'm tired of feeling the
Oh my God. Why wouldn't you talk to your therapist about this? I'm not shading her. I'm just saying, like, this sounds like it could be potentially dangerous, and it's out of Ashlie Molstad's purview.
the hatred. I'm tired of feeling the fight or flight. Like, I am trying so hard any way I personally can to make the situation better. And I cannot control him. And his mom even agrees I am doing everything in my power to better his life and our life. It is on him. I truly think
What's on him? What's on him? What's on him?
his attitude.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
His dad is very similar. I think he has some mommy issues too. His parents were divorced at a young age.
Okay. That's okay. None of that matters
That's okay. None of that matters. Okay. All right, Ashlie.
right now. I want to, so if you want to release some of this anger towards him, I'm very glad you're in therapy because there's a lot of trauma going on here that I'm not qualified to,
Like all of it? Like this entire conversation, you're not qualified? Okay. I'm glad you said it.
I can't do anything, I'm not qualified to talk about that. But I am kind of curious why you want to feel neutral towards him. Like, what is that when you feel anger, why don't you like feeling that?
I am not an angry person. I am an extremely bright, bubbly, happy personality. I've gotten hurt a lot in the past. And I always said to myself, somebody has it worse. Somebody has it worse. I'm okay. Brush it under the rug, keep going. I've now changed.
So invalidating to yourself.
And I've just ran into stuff. But now I say, if my struggles help one person, then they're worth it. And so, like, to me, like, I need to keep working on myself because there's been other single moms that have reached out to me and said, how did you deal with this? Or do you have, like, you know what I mean?
So like, what are you angry at him for?
Abusing her, cheating on her, staying with the person he cheated on her with, still abusing her after this situation, not respecting her. I mean, what?
I'm angry at him for calling me crazy.
Okay. Gaslighting her.
I'm angry at him for lying. I'm angry at him for literally, like, I was a single mom the day she was born, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He was a police officer, left it, and then went to work for what's called as a lineman, and he went away for 7 weeks. And that's at the end of that 7 weeks, that's when I found out everything. So from the day she was born, when people say a married single mom, I was the married single mom.
So
like, he had no help.
Prove that he called you crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can put that in a circumstance line. He called me crazy. And why?
I thought she was on this big kick about, like, what's a fact, what is, all this stuff. And then wouldn't that be in the fact line if she has an audio recording of him calling her crazy?
What did you make that mean?
Why is that at that point?
Why did that make you angry?
Because it was a lie.
Because he was blaming it on me being, he says that I had postpartum. He says, you're crazy because you have postpartum. It's nothing. But when I left him, now looking back, I truly, without a doubt, believe I did not have any type of postpartum, and my doctor believes that as well.
Okay.
Because as soon as I left,
Another fact in the fact pattern line.
I got off all my medication.
So what is it? He called me crazy, and
I wasn't
I'm
crazy.
angry because what?
I'm angry because he did this to our family. Like, I should not be having
about
to
the
do this.
circumstance. He called me crazy. Why does that thought? I know we want to get to like this big thing, but the way that I think about thoughts is like there's a big table with 100 different legs supporting the table. And what our brain wants to do is just like knock off the table, but I just want to get to one leg that's supporting this thought, right? So when the circumstance is, we could prove this in a court of law, he called me crazy and you feel angry. What is it you're thinking that is making you feel angry in regards to him calling you crazy?
Because I wasn't crazy. My gut was telling me something was wrong, but he was saying my gut is, you're just crazy. There's nothing going on. We're just
crazy. And it's like, what the thought is, he made me feel
doubt myself.
He made me doubt myself. When you think he made me doubt myself, how do you feel? Is it anger? He made me doubt myself.
No, I just doubt myself in a lot of different areas. So it, like, when he said that, like, and I doubted myself, I was like, well, it's just something, it's nothing new. I joke and say I'm one of those people. If you put me in interrogation and said I killed somebody and asked me a bunch of questions, I'll eventually convince myself I killed that person. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, but that's like therapy stuff. I think you got to talk. This is definitely, you not having your own back for sure. But I want to get to where your anger is coming from. Is it he shouldn't have called me crazy? He lied to me. He robbed me of some experience with my daughter. He robbed me of a family. Like, where is the anger coming from?
I think he robbed me of the family.
Okay. So when you think he robbed me of my family, how does that make you feel? What's that thought?
Sad.
Oh, well, we're looking for anger. We want to get rid of anger. So what is it that's making you feel angry towards him?
What? We're looking for anger and you didn't give me the right answer.
That he chose somebody else instead of trying to fight for our family.
Yeah. He chose somebody else.
It was just easy. I begged him to, I was willing to forgive and move on. And he had his mindset ready to go that he was leaving.
So you know what's actually happening here, I think, is you want to get rid of the anger, but I think the anger is actually for protecting you from feeling something deeper, which is shame or self-loathing or I'm not good enough. So I actually think the anger is a part of your healing.
Oh, well.
You actually think the anger is a part of her healing? A licensed clinician, we need your help. Dear God. Bat signal. Out for licensed clinician. Please send help.
Okay.
Right? Because when you're explaining this to me, like a lot of these thoughts, right? He robbed me of my family, made you actually feel sad, right? He chose somebody else. The fact that you say she's the size of my thigh feels like self-loathing, like something's wrong with me, right? So I think that might be the underlying thought, like something's wrong with me, which then makes you feel what? Does that resonate? Do you feel like?
Yeah, I get the whole anger is protecting me right now. Yeah.
So actually, we don't really want to get rid of anger yet. Because anger is protecting you from that deep shame spiral.
Then how do I?
Wouldn't this be a question for a licensed clinician?
The fight or flight kicks in every time. And is it just something I'm going to have to keep going through? And then
well, honestly, if he's abusive, that makes sense to me. If he's still abusing you, like, this is why I think there needs to be some talk with the therapist, or they're like, I don't understand.
At least you're saying that. I appreciate that. I can say that I appreciate you're telling her to talk to a licensed clinician. I appreciate that.
If he's still abusing you, why you're still doing the exchange, why that's not done with like a mediator or supervised visits, or why you're the one having to do the exchange. If this is right. And this is why I'm like, this is above my pay grade, because if he's actually abusing you, that's when fight or flight makes sense.
We don't want to be like,
oh, I'm okay with it. I'm peaceful.
She just talked over her again.
So when I'm going into an abusive situation.
It's not every pickup, but I think part of my fight or flight anxiety stuff is I don't know the attitude I'm going to get when I get there.
Because it's an unsafe situation for you.
Because we couldn't say anything, and then all of a sudden he jumps out of the truck and just go. Like last Monday, he told me I needed to step up my parenting game because she was having a toddler tantrum. Which it's age-appropriate behavior of what she was doing.
Yeah, but your conscious brain believes that, your subconscious doesn't. So when he says that to you, there's a part of you that believes it. And I think this goes back to your thoughts about you, that you feel like there's something missing or there's something wrong with you or I'm not good enough. That's why, he went for someone that's a size 2 when I'm a size 14. When he says to you, you need to step up if someone told me you need to step up your parenting game, I'd be like, you better get the fuck out of here.
Right?
I just am like, in fact, John and I just got in a fight about it last night. Literally, because he was kind of like saying that I parent with screens. And I was just like, no. Like, I know that I'm a good mom. I know, right? And and then today was fine. And I'm like, we just parent differently. If you think that I parent with screens, I'm going to let you think that because I know where I'm at. I know what I'm doing, right? And it's when I'm working and stuff, I do, I have them on their screens. But he was feeling sort of insecure about some things, I guess, his parenting. So he said, well, whatever, this is I'm still working through that. So I'm not this is probably too vulnerable to be sharing. But the reality is I don't think I could be a better mom. So I don't own that.
Just because you believe something about yourself does not mean that it's an accurate reflection of reality. You could say, I'm confident in the way that I parent. And the question is parenting with screens good or bad? Well, that's your own decision. But you shouldn't, I think, if you are in this position, be sharing your personal information in front of a client or customer, whatever you want to call it.
If someone says that to me, I'll listen. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. But if he thinks that, then I'm going to explain to him why I'm using screens at certain times, but I'm not believing that I'm a bad mom.
Right.
But if he says to you, you need to step up your parenting game, and you're like, well, that's triggering my fight or flight. Those are just words that he's saying. Your brain is then making it mean something, which is I'm a bad mom. And then I feel ashamed or sad, or it's like the one thing I don't want to be is a bad mom to this angel of a child that I have.
Right.
There's part of you that believes that. So it's actually the fight or flight is really, I think, your thoughts about you. And this is a little bit of a complicated situation because I do think there's actual trauma here going on. So I'm glad you're seeing a therapist, but I think the work needs to be done on you having your own back, you deciding that you're enough, you deciding that being size 14 has nothing to do with your value in the world. You deciding that he left me not having anything to do with me, but because of him and his own inadequacies or his own whatever, right? But like you're owning a lot of this and that's causing severe damage to your self-esteem.
Right.
And then he's the one that can trigger that for you. Sounds.
And I truly think that like you said, like it's his actions are not upon me. And I believe that.
His actions
But
are
also like his actions, like how do I say that? Like his actions weren't directed towards me. It was his inner workings or whatever, inner self.
Mm-hmm.
However you say that. I believe that, but then also like my mind goes back to, but what did I do? What did I do to drive him away? So like I get conflict. Like I think I'm unlearning a lot and trying to relearn, but I catch myself going back.
Yeah. So this is one of those things that happens that's cognitive dissonance. And I have this weird example that I share when this cognitive dissonance comes up. So I didn't.
Just in case you don't watch Aaron Bees' channel, I'm going to read the definition of cognitive dissonance. Okay, cognitive dissonance. This is from psychologytoday.com. Cognitive dissonance is a term for the state of discomfort felt when two or more modes of thought contradict each other. The clashing cognitions may include ideas, beliefs, or the knowledge that one has behaved in a certain way. The theory of cognitive dissonance proposes that people are averse to inconsistencies within their own minds. It offers one explanation for why people sometimes make an effort to adjust their thinking when their own thoughts, words, or behaviors seem to clash with each other. When one learns new information that challenges a deeply held belief, for example, or acts in a way that seems to undercut a favorable self-image, that person may feel motivated to somehow resolve the negative feeling that results, to restore cognitive consonance. Though a person may not always resolve cognitive dissonance, the response to it may range from ignoring the source of it to changing one's beliefs or behavior to eliminate the conflict. What is cognitive dissonance? When someone tells a lie and feels uncomfortable about it because he or she fundamentally sees themselves as an honest person, they may be experiencing cognitive dissonance. That is, there is a mental discord related to a contradiction between one thought, in this case, knowing they did something wrong, and another, thinking that they are honest. Is cognitive dissonance the same as hypocrisy? No, hypocrisy involves a contradiction between a person's supposed principles, beliefs, or character and who they really are, or how they behave. Cognitive dissonance is the unpleasant mental state that may result if someone really does have certain beliefs, but thinks or acts in a way that contradicts them. How common is cognitive dissonance? It's not clear. While cognitive dissonance is often described as something widely and regularly experienced, efforts to capture it in studies don't always work. How do we deal with cognitive dissonance? Cognitive dissonance poses a challenge. How can we resolve the uncomfortable feeling that arises when our own thoughts or actions clash with each other? Some responses may be more constructive than others. A man who learns that his eating habits raise his risk of illness feels the tension between his preferred behavior and the idea that he could be in danger. He might ease the feeling by telling himself that the health warning is exaggerated, or more productively, by deciding to take action to change his behavior. Is cognitive dissonance a bad thing? Not necessarily by bringing attention to the inconsistencies in our minds. Cognitive dissonance may present an opportunity for growth.
Realize, but I have a story around money. And money to me, I have discovered that my story with money is like money equals value, money equals worth, money equals power. And so as I started becoming more successful and making more money, I wanted people to know that about me. I had like this urge for people to know and tell people. And I remember getting coached on it one time. Like I was going into this neighborhood brunch and I'm like, I just feel like they're going to think I'm a floozy in there. Like I'm a nobody. And I want them to know, like, I am somebody. I work hard. I'm da da da. And what we discovered is I want to tell people how much I make so that I can influence their opinion of me, because I've decided that money is power, right? But that's my subconscious. So there's a subconscious belief that like I have this urge to tell people so I can influence their opinion of me. But then when I look at it, and it's like, if someone meets me and doesn't like me, and then they decide how much money or then they learn how much money I make, and then they like me, I don't have anything to do with them. Two competing thoughts. One's in my subconscious, and I see where I get it. I was just with my mom in July, and she talks about money all day long.
How does this have anything to do with the client / customer that you're speaking to?
She comments on it literally all day long. So it makes sense that I, as a child, perceived, oh, money is very important. Money is very important. Money is very, right? So I have this value placed on it. So I've got these competing beliefs. One, I don't want, which is my money is my value. One, I do want, which is I am enough regardless of how much I make. But they both exist within me. And so as we were talking about it, I can see I've got these two competing beliefs. But now I know one's coming from an insecure place that I don't want to cultivate. And one is where I want to go. Now I go into this brunch, right? And I could feel that urge when I'm talking to the women. I could feel the urge, like, how can I work it in? And it's like, then that's when I step outside of my brain. I'm like, oh, I see what's going on here. You're trying to influence them. But remember that this influencing them is actually coming from an insecure place. You don't actually want to, like, you are enough. Let yourself be seen, right? Now, I don't nail this every time. There are still times that urge comes up and I do say it. And then I'm like, God damn it, that was coming from the insecure place. But at least I know, like, this is coming from a place that I don't want to honor anymore. I didn't have any choice over this. This was a conclusion that my brain drew when I was little, but it's no longer serving me. I want to move in the direction of, regardless of how much I make, you either like me or you don't. And I don't need you to know what I make in order for you to like me more. That's probably harder for me to work on than even the rejection thing. It's so innately wound, it feels like, but
You live in a 2.5 or whatever, in the millions of dollars house. You have luxury goods. You have the best of the best foods. You have unlimited money for supplements. You have luxury cars. You have luxury jewelry. It's not just like you don't have anything and it's still a struggle. It's to not care what people think about you. I think even more so, or what it seems like, she is having that struggle with resolving this idea that she has money, she has all the things that some people put a weight on for making them more likable, and she's still struggling with her self-worth.
I've got them. So now when I feel that urge, I know that it's coming from a place that isn't from my strongest self, right? So I say all of that to say, you just have competing thoughts. And what you're saying is, I'm very aware that this is not, this had nothing to do with me. It was his fault. It was his problem, right? That's your conscious brain, but your subconscious still thinks, I'm broken, something's wrong with me. I must have driven him away. Right? But it's like, it's just reminding your brain, like, that's an old insecure me. I don't want to reinforce this thought of me anymore. I know another thought is true, which is, this is his problem, right? Mm-hmm. And so your brain's going to keep offering you that subconscious thought. Hey, remember, we like this thing because it requires very little effort for us to think that we're broken. We thought it our whole life. So let's just keep thinking this, but you're now consciously like, that's not serving me anymore. I don't want to think that. I want to think this other thing that I believe, which is, this is his fault or whatever. Like he left me not because of me, but because of him, right? It doesn't mean that your brain isn't going to operate. It just means you need to give this a little more airtime. This is going to think on autopilot. So it feels very easy. The subconscious thought feels very easy. It requires no effort. Your brain just thinks it. This one requires work, but eventually this one can become more of a dominant one. I don't know if we'll ever get rid of the something's wrong with me, but you can see it as a thought and a belief, not a fact, right? And you can see, okay, I learned this. Oh, here's my brain offering me that thought again. Here it is. Here I see her and I'm a size 14 and she's a size 2. Another reason, way I'm broken. I'm thinking I'm broken. That's not true. I know this has nothing to do with me, right? So it's just like that constant giving more airtime to the thought that you want to intentionally think. Spending more time focusing on that because you believe both of them, but one feels better to believe. So we want to intentionally spend more time over here in this.
Yeah.
It's like practice. It's getting those reps in. It's getting stronger, right? But this is going to be a slow go because this has probably been a thought for you for a long time. And your brain.
Well, and I think like you were talking about the subconscious thing, like being grown up in a Catholic Midwest home, farming background, everything, like the women were cooking, cleaning, everything. Like, so I'm used to being submissive or whatever you want to call it. Like, what does the husband need? So that's where my mind goes. What did I do to drive him away?
That's a great question.
Right. Your
background of the situation and how it's tied in with how you see the world. This is why this is a conversation for a therapist, not for Ashlie Molstad.
Conscious goes there.
Yeah.
Then you bring your conscious brain on board and you realize this man was a narcissist. He can't help himself. He's only thinking about himself. Of course, he's not going to fight for us and our family. He doesn't care. If he's a clinical narcissist, he doesn't have the capability of thinking about you or your daughter's needs. He's just thinking about himself. That's like what a narcissist is.
So there's narcissistic traits and there's a NPD, and this is from the National Institute of Health. Narcissistic personality disorder, NPD, is a pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, and lack of empathy, per the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, the DSM-5. The disorder is classified in the dimensional model of personality disorders. Not all narcissists are abusive. There's a whole range, and you need to work with a licensed clinician. Dear God.
That has nothing to do with you. Right? So it's
And
like,
it kills me because I don't want him to do it to her, but that's out of my control. And I know that.
and he's her dad for a reason.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said that, like,
for a reason.
yes. And like, I always say, like, I don't like him, but I still have to deal with him. I wouldn't have if it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm. So I didn't need him to fight for our family. I'm going to fight for our family. And what that looks like is me fighting for myself so that I can be the best mom for her. Otherwise, she's going to grow up with our voices become their internal voices, right? They are learning how they're supposed to behave. You learned that women were supposed to wait on men, that women were supposed to sacrifice themselves for the men in their lives. And if we don't want to pass that on, if that's no longer serving us, this is my work to do. I'm going to fight for my family right now. I don't need him to.
Dan Skippy.
Okay. It's going to be hard, and we can do hard things.
Yeah.
It's just thoughts. None of that's true. So we're just going to start writing another story, and it is going to take effort, and your brain is going to get noisy and resist it, anticipate it. But start being a compassionate observer of your brain. Oh, there's my brain thinking that thing again. Instead of I am broken, something's wrong with me or whatever, right? I'm thinking I'm broken. I'm thinking something's wrong with me. You have to start really doing the work on your own self-esteem.
Yeah.
I think therapy is good to deal on the trauma, right? But this, you can really start working on your own thoughts about you in this, like where you want to go in the future, right? Therapy a lot of times focuses on the past and stuff, which is very important.
I see a lot of similarities between you and my therapist, and it scares me. So that's why just the way both of you guys talk. So
What a terrifying thought.
I think she did some life coach stuff, but yeah.
Oh, good. You are very brave to share. I'm seeing a ton of love for you in these comments. I'm really excited to see where you are. I'd love for you to stay in touch at the end of these 4 weeks and see how you're feeling about you. Just keep leaning in.
Yeah, start paying for me after this 4-week session. It's a freaking funnel.
And doing the work. You've got this.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna put you back. And I'm going to end the call now, I think.
Great.
Okay. So we got a couple of live coaching in. There's going to be a few more emails that go out, tomorrow and Friday. We will get this replay up and posted in the course page. If you're still not getting the emails, we have been, Kaylee has really been working pretty tirelessly to get this all figured out, but we'll get it, and just keep showing up, keep doing the work, keep exploring your brains. And then next week, we're going to talk about like movement or nutrition and nourishment, but it still is all going to come back to like your thoughts about you. So thanks you guys for hanging out with us tonight. You guys are the best. Thanks for investing in yourself and doing the work. And I will see you guys soon. Love you. Mean it.
Are we okay? Are we good? Everyone functioning? Listen, it's going to be a twisty series. There's going to be 4 videos. This is the first of the 4. It's going to be a longer video. Ava, bless you. If you want to put your channel linkage things right here, Ava's incredible. She's been able to edit videos for me, and I'm gonna start doing more edited videos, and I really appreciate the thought and care that she has and the excellence that she brings to her work. I hope y'all have enjoyed. I don't know if we can say we can enjoy this episode, but I hope that uncovering the stuff that's going on behind closed doors helps someone to not get sucked in to these situations where you're giving your money to an unlicensed professional and potentially highlighting the dangers of letting someone muck about in your mind. If you made it to this point in the episode and you like this kind of content, I also go live some, and I do some posted videos. If you've seen the real world episodes, I hope you come back next time, and I'll see you later. Where's my outro? Dang it.